Are you moving to, or you're thinking about making a move to Minneapolis, but you're not really sure which community or neighborhood you want to live in? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you a video tour of Northeast Minneapolis, and I'm also going to show you where everything is on a map, how close you are to downtown and the airport, all that good stuff, so that you can decide if Northeast is the place for you. So here's Northeast on a map. I separated it into all of its different neighborhoods. Just if anybody ever wanted to check this out on their own and play around with it, that they'd be able to know exactly which neighborhood is which. So I'm just going to zoom out and explain this big blue line all around Minneapolis. So that is the Ground Round Scenic Byway. It is a bike trail that goes all the way around Minneapolis, and it connects with the Greenway here, which I talk about in a lot of my videos, but it is one of my favorite bike trails. And it's a path that's tucked away from cars, and it leads you to the chain of lakes over here. If you are on the outer part of Northeast Minneapolis, you're going to have close access to that. And you can always take that down to the Greenway, get to the chain of lakes if you want. I will warn you that it's probably about an hour bike ride, unless you bike really fast, and you probably get there faster. But anyway, so zooming in here, I know this map is kind of busy, but I really wanted to give you an idea of where everything is. So these yellow dots are going to be restaurants. This is artist buildings. These little martini glasses are dive bars. Most of them are dive bars. They're bars, but a lot of these are dive bars. These coffee mugs are obviously coffee shops, and I didn't include any Starbucks or any Caribou coffees. These are just local independent coffee shops. And then, of course, these little shopping bags are shopping. And these little purple dots are either parks or there's just points of interest. This is the St. Anthony West and St. Anthony East. These are the St. Anthony West and St. Anthony East neighborhoods. And if you want to be as close to downtown as possible, these are probably going to be the best neighborhoods for you. There are single family homes here, but there are going to be a lot more condos. So I just made a little trail here to show you. This is a trail to bike to downtown, and it is about 5 minutes. And I found when I lived in Northeast that it was actually faster sometimes for me to bike to downtown than it was to drive, and it was a lot easier to find parking, like lock up your bike. Anyway, so this is the Riverfront District right here, close to the Mississippi River. But this is one of my favorite areas. Astor's Cafe is around here, the restaurant right on the river. And then there's a trail that you can walk around. There's a Stoner's Bridge over here, which I am going to show you what it actually looks like later in the video, but this is just to help you get an idea of where everything is located. So Central has a lot going on. See all these restaurants and coffee shops. There's breweries nearby. Oh, if I didn't mention that, these little beer mugs, I'm sure you could guess, are breweries. So this is Central right here. Right here. So there is a lot going on over here, but the nice thing about this is that, because I used to live probably closer around this area in the Arts District, and nice thing about this is that you have so much going on Central Avenue, but you go just one block away and then there's just a bunch of residential areas. It's awesome. Actually, throughout all of Northeast, there are residential neighborhoods, but as I said, there's more condos in these neighborhoods. Probably not as much going on over here. It's really industrial over in this neighborhood here. If you want to be really close to everything, you maybe don't bike or you want to walk or anything like that, maybe the Arts District is going to be better for you. That includes the Sheridan neighborhood, Logan, Holland, Bottineau, and the southern part of Marshall Terrace here. It's kind of nice little square. As you can see, a lot of the things are condensed close to this area and also close to the Riverfront District, which is close to downtown. But even if you are on the outer part of Northeast, you still have close access to the Ground Rounds Byway. And it's pretty quick to bike through Northeast. But obviously, if you're way far out here, it's going to take you probably 40 minutes to bike to downtown right here. And I'm just going to zoom out here just to give you an idea of how close you are to the airport. I know it's hard without a scale, but here's the airport right here, and that is about a 20 to 25 minute drive, and it is about the same distance to downtown St. Paul. So you can get to the outer parts of St. Paul, obviously a lot faster, but downtown, going to be 20 to 25 minutes to drive. And I know I pointed out that these yellow dots are all restaurants, but there is a tons of variety: Mexican, Vietnamese, French, Greek, Lebanese, Indian, Ecuadorian, Japanese. There are tons of different food options in Northeast, which is great if you're a foodie. And I know I mentioned there are bars everywhere, but a lot of these dive bars or regular bars have live music, and there are music venues spread throughout Northeast as well. And I don't have everything on this map. It took me a really long time to make this to get as much stuff on here as I wanted, but it does at least give you an idea of where everything is kind of condensed. I'll try to put a link in the description, but just in case it doesn't work, you can always email me and I can send you this map. I have so many layers on it, so sometimes I've had problems, but I'll try to just upload that. I'll test it out. Now I want to show you what the parks actually look like in Northeast. So this is Boom Island Park. You have the little lighthouse, and there's a trail that goes all around the park. Then you have a big open field, so it's awesome if you want to take your dog there, or there's shelters if you want to have a barbecue, maybe a picnic. And then you have the Water Power Park, which is coming up now. So I love this area because this is in St. Anthony, Maine. And you have beautiful views of the bridge and the skyline and the waterfall, which I'm not sure if that's technically considered a waterfall, but that's just what I'm going to call it. But here's St. Anthony, Maine, and it has cobblestone roads, and there's a theater, a bunch of cool different architecture down there. And then you have Astor Cafe, which is right across from the river. And it's been named the best place to have a first date because they have festoon lights at night, and then they have live music, and of course, overlooking the skyline and the Mississippi River here. And I'm going to show you the Stone Arch Bridge. So I took this video in the springtime, so it's not all green and shiny and like everything else is. So sorry about that, but it's still really beautiful in my opinion, and then it gives you a general idea of what it looks like there. But this is just a walking, biking, strolling bridge, no cars allowed, super awesome, and you have beautiful views of the city and the waterfalls. So I showed you on a map, but now I want to show you what it actually looks like throughout the city, especially on Central Avenue, University, and East Hennepin, because those are the streets that are lined with all the restaurants and the shops and the breweries and all that other good stuff. So I'm going to play that while I tell you a little bit more about Northeast. Northeast is one of my favorite communities in Minneapolis because of the variety of things to do. Of course, you have all the nightlife, the dive bars, the breweries, and the music venues. I mean, I lived in Northeast in my early 20s, so 10 years ago. And my favorite thing was going to all the dive bars, especially the ones that were close to my house, which were the Moose and Spring Street Tavern. And they used to have a pool table, which was awesome. Now it's taken away because of bar fights. But that was one of my favorite things to do because I've just always loved dive bars. I like that kind of, that non-judgmental, kind of accepting of everybody, feeling like you could go in your pajamas and nobody would really care. It's kind of like your neighborhood family. Everybody goes to the same dive bars and you just get to know each other. So I really like the feeling of that in Northeast, but there are a lot of people that say that it has a hipster vibe to it. And I don't deny that either. It might just have been that I didn't hang out at enough coffee shops. So I think maybe you get more of that vibe at coffee shops. But it's not just the nightlife, like I already showed you. There's tons of parks and bike trails, and you have the Stone Arch Bridge and St. Anthony, Maine with the theater, and of course all the shopping and restaurants. Now that I'm a little bit older, I may not go for all the dive bars and the breweries and all that anymore, but don't get me wrong, when I don't want to go to bed before 10 p.m., I do like going to Beast's Barbecue for some house music. But another thing I love about Northeast Minneapolis is the strong artistic presence all throughout the community. And there's something called Art-A-Whirl, which is the largest open studio art tour in the country. And it happens all throughout Northeast Minneapolis. So not even just in the Arts District, it's all throughout Northeast, and everybody gets really excited about it. And is one of the best community events in Minneapolis. Niche.com gave most of the public schools in the Northeast area around a C, but I highly suggest going to either niche.com or greatschools.org to see how these are graded, because what a good school is going to be different to everybody. So maybe you're looking for something that has a better athletic program, or maybe you're looking for something that, people have higher test scores, or you're looking for more diversity. So it really depends on what you're looking for. So I wouldn't just base it on a grade, but I'm just providing that for general information. So as far as real estate, the median sales price for the Northeast Minneapolis community is $335,000, and that's just for single family homes, not including condos or townhouses. Some neighborhoods are going to be more expensive than others, of course. So Columbia Park is the cheapest, which has a median sales price of $285,000, and then Sheridan has the highest. Sheridan is in the Arts District. That has a median sales price of $401,000. So if you are looking for a single family in Northeast, you can find one from $200,000 to $700,000. Although I will warn you that if the home is close to or sometimes even under $200,000, they are going to need a lot of work. I would recommend going in with the expectation of paying closer to $250,000 for something that is, pretty move-in ready. Maybe around $275,000 if you want a 2-bed, 1-bath that has a good amount of cosmetic updating. But if you're looking specifically for a 3-bed, 1-bath, I would suggest going in with the expectation of paying closer to $300,000 or maybe even $350,000 for something that is move-in ready and doesn't need much cosmetic updating. Of course, in the more expensive neighborhoods, it's going to be closer to $350,000 to $400,000 for something that's for a 3-bed, 2-bath that's cosmetically updated. All right, so pros and cons of Northeast Minneapolis, which I feel like the majority of this video, I've kind of just been explaining the pros, but just to reiterate, pros of Northeast Minneapolis is, of course, all the things to do, all the nightlife and music venues and the beautiful parks and the shopping and the huge variety of restaurants and different international cuisines. But also that everything, I shouldn't say everything, but lots of things are walking or biking distance. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't want to have a car and you just want to bike everywhere or take public transit, you can do that in Northeast Minneapolis. It's really close to downtown, probably a 5-minute bike ride if you're coming from the Arts District, or I should say like the Sheridan or Logan neighborhood. But it's also close to other bike trails that would get you to different parts of Minneapolis. Like I was telling you earlier, you can take the Ground Round Scenic Byway, take it to the Greenway, take it to the Chain of Lakes. So it's just in a really convenient spot that has everything, well, almost everything you need there, but easy access to everywhere else. Another great thing about Northeast is that it's mixed with a bunch of different kinds of people. So you have retirees, you have families, you have young professionals, you have singles. You kind of have it all in Northeast, and I always think that makes for a really rich city, just having a lot of different perspectives and personalities come together. And I will say the last pro that I haven't mentioned in this video, and that is the parking. One of the main reasons that there are certain parts of Minneapolis that I won't live in is because of the parking. I lived in downtown, and there are several times that I literally cried because it was after 7 p.m. and I couldn't find a parking spot less than a mile away. So, nice thing about Northeast is that the parking is very easy. It's nothing like downtown. You don't have to worry about getting your car towed unless it's like a snow emergency. You gotta watch out for that. But it's really easy. It's just really residential. You can park on the street. There's not a whole lot of parking restrictions, and I find that very nice. As for the cons, I really don't think there are too many. Maybe some people will disagree with me on that, and if you do, please feel free to mention that in the comments. But one con that sticks out to me is that if you do rely on public transportation, you don't have a bike, if you're not close to Central Avenue, the buses don't come nearly as frequently as they do if you're closer to Central. So if you're close to Central, they have buses that come every 10 minutes. If you're farther away from Central, you might have buses that come every 30 minutes. So that could kind of mess up your schedule a bit. But if you're pretty flexible, maybe that won't affect you. And another con is that there are not many grocery store options. So earlier I mentioned the Quarry, and the Quarry it has a Home Depot and a Cub and a Target, and there's some other stores, but I never went to the other stores, so I don't know what they are. But that's kind of your main grocery store in Northeast Minneapolis. There is a Lunds and Byerly's that's closer to the Riverfront District, but as far as farther out in Northeast, you don't have a whole lot of options. Like some places you're gonna have a Trader Joe's and a Hy-Vee and a Fresh Time and a Festival, but not nearly as many options in Northeast. But if you do not rely on public transportation and you can drive everywhere, you're gonna be able to get to a different grocery store within 10 or 15 minutes anyway. If you live in Northeast or you have lived in Northeast, please let me know what you think of Northeast in the comments so that people moving here can get a better idea of what it's like to live there, because it's better to get more than one perspective, of course. And please feel free to reach out anytime, especially if you want me to give you that map.